You are listening to the Gate 7 International Podcast, a podcast connecting Olympiakos fans from Melbourne to Baltimore, from London to Piraeus. We are 4 Olympiakos fans from every corner of the world, bringing you news and interviews of the team you love in English. With new episodes twice a week, you'll never lose the latest updates and stories of the team you love. This is our team, our city, and our land. Man Onirotrelo. You're listening to the Gate 7 International Podcast.
Welcome to the Gate 7 International Podcast, your official English source for all things Olympiakos FC and Greek football. You're listening to episode number 79. My name is Peter Thompson. I'm here with my co-hosts, Lambro and Costa Levoyanis. We've got finished watching a very exciting game, a 0-0 draw a few hours ago between Olympiakos and Asteras Tripolis. So we're going to talk about that. We know there are some player names that are definitely gonna spark some discussion here, and we hope some of the folks listening live have some takes to give us as well. As always, we do have a couple housekeeping things as always before we do jump into the game discussion. Firstly, we will be hosting our first annual awards show at the end of the season, so this will be happening on May 23rd, the day after the Greek Cup final, so everything will be all wrapped up. Voting is going to open on Monday, May 10th. So if you're listening live, that's tomorrow. We will have more information about that on our socials, Gate7INTL, on how to vote. We're not going to spoil the categories yet, but as you know, they'll be out tomorrow. We will say, in honor of Gate 7, there are 7 different awards that you can vote for. And the fan voting is going to count into the total awards along with our votes and the votes of the Gate7International.com blog team. So keep an eye out for that. We're super excited for that to happen and to look back on the season. It should be fun for all involved. Additionally, we would like to say thank you to our sponsor, Piraeus International. Piraeus International has been helping Greeks ship to and from the motherland during COVID-19. Shipments to Greece are going out from Baltimore, Maryland every month. Fill any large U-Haul box, 18 by 18 by 24. Send it to our friends in Baltimore, and it will be shipped to the port of Piraeus for only $50. Better yet, fill in a large wardrobe box and send it for $100. Give them a call at 410-675-4696 or send an email to sales@piraeusintl.com. We do also have a couple news things to get into. The one thing I wanted to talk about is a quote from Ushenu Ba, who, obviously has had a pretty solid season, but we've been a bit critical of him of late. He has basically come out and said he feels very content with his time at Olympiakos. He says, "I've got nothing more to prove here in Greece. I'm coming from another season where we've won the championship for the second time in a row. I feel ready for the Premier League, but at the moment there's nothing concrete, only rumors." So this, I don't know, guys. I like Ba. I think if you go on the website and look at my profile, it has Ba as my favorite player. I've always been someone to stand for Ba when Lambro criticizes him for no reason. There are some instances of this when he's played. But this really puzzled me because let's be honest, guys, we knew at the beginning of the year we were going to win the Greek league. So it's sort of if you're going to come to me and be like, yes, what an accomplishment. We've won the championship in Greece. Yeah, you were supposed to. It's not like a huge accomplishment. For me, a huge accomplishment would have been last 16 Champions League. Ba has not made it to the last 16 of the Champions League in his 2 years at Olympiakos. So in my eyes, he has not accomplished everything that, he could possibly set out to do. And it has to be said, he got sent off in the Europa League game against Arsenal at the end of the game. So he should remember how horrible it felt to be sitting on the bench crying and losing the game, or losing the tie, I should say. He should remember how that feels when he thinks about if he's accomplished everything. And honestly, this type of behavior, it does sort of spawn the question of, is he going to be heading out? We have a 16-year-old center back who's future world-class player. No, I'm just kidding. But we'll get into him later. But I mean, seriously, what do you guys think of these quotes? Am I the only one, even as a Ba supporter and fan, am I the only one who's a bit upset by this?
Do you want to
Shall I
go first?
go?
Lambro? Yeah,
Lambro, I know
the
what you're gonna say. But go
hater
ahead, man.
of it. Like, we've known the attitude is there, right? Like, this is something I talked about. This is something I talked about. I don't think anyone else.
Man,
everyone else
I,
is just
I think this is different though. Like, it's one thing in the heat of the moment to like yell
It
at a
is.
ref. You know, you're
is.
in the heat of competition. You want to win. You're angry. But this is like him, you know, sitting in his crib in Glifara, just like resting on his laurels of winning the Greek championship against nothing teams who bottle it. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's almost if anything, he should look back and be like, okay, I've like got some things I need to work on here with the attitude. Like I've not accomplished everything. I don't think I'm ready for the Premier League. I need to get better. But we don't see that.
Yeah, I go ahead, Costa, please.
I think there are two things. I think one, I just don't see it happening this summer. He's just come back from surgery. I mean, he's had surgery. They're saying he's going to be back pre-season after a surgery on his hip, or is it his waist? I mean, that's a pretty serious surgery to undertake. So first of all, he needs to come back from that. He needs to get back into training. We're coming off the end of a long season, going into another long season where we're going to be starting earlier than any other preseason before we launch ourselves into a European campaign from probably, hopefully, the second round of European Champions League qualifiers. So he needs to hold his horses a little bit and get, he needs a serious reality check on that front. The second thing is his agent, Pierre Issa, is there's a lot of activity going on around there because there's this whole story with Madi Camara looking to get away after 3 seasons. There's a breakup in the relationship there. We know that Camara, Ba, and Cissé are all part of his Play 11 shop. Cissé is, hotly tipped to probably get a transfer even if Saint-Etienne doesn't pay his 13 million release clause. I'm seeing a lot of his players, pushing their agent to get bids in from other leagues. That's what I'm seeing in all of this as well, and I think it's just another PR move.
Yeah, and I mean the thing with Madi Camara, I don't know. It would be like to see Madi switch agents to Mino Raiola. Like that would be something else. I think we briefly mentioned it on the last episode, and one of our new blogs as well briefly mentions it. Don't Shoot the Messenger. Entertaining and thought-provoking stuff as well on gate7intl.com. KAVLOgeropoulos. We'll get into KAVLOgeropoulos in a little bit.
I'm
George,
patenting
but yes.
that. I'm putting a patent on that. I'm too George.
I'm honestly disappointed that I didn't think of it first. I have to be honest with you, Costa. But yeah, I mean, but no, it is the whole Pierre Issa situation is interesting. I mean, I think Madi's gonna be getting his move some way or another, and Cissé, I mean, this guy deserves like a move. I mean, I'd take him back, but he's been absolutely stunning on loan at Saint-Etienne in Liga and good competition. And we'll see what happens.
There's a really interesting discussion to be had about our centre backs next year because
huge.
We're gonna get into this.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if we want to get into that now, but I mean, I'm fucking excited by that 16-year-old that we saw today. Oh my God.
Oozes class, man. Oozes class. But Lambro, I'll tell you what, Lambro, you've got some transfer news for us. Run through this. Run through it quickly, and then we'll talk about Kalogeropoulos.
Yeah. Okay. We'll get into the center backs, but first I'm going to go through some transfer news. So, as we've been saying, and as you all know, Jose Mourinho is off to Roma FC, of course, and with that, there's big rumors of our Portuguese players heading out to Rome. So this time it's Ruben Semedo was linked this morning with a move to Roma. We'll see where this goes. Like, I don't know whether this is just like easy names being thrown out because Jose Mourinho is not the coach. But there's like actual rumors. And furthermore, both Frankfurt and Fenerbahce are supposedly in for Bruma. So the club, of course, is interested in bringing him back. A lot of people are excited. Bruma out movement is gaining steam after that shocking first half again. But so Bruma may be out the door heading to Germany or back to Turkey. Interesting news. reports out today also that Reece Nelson remains high on the list of wingers to coming in. And another winger who we have discussed about, Adi did that deep dive into him. I forget which episode it was. Quaison, the Swedish winger. And Adi said, no, he sucks. So he's going to be on a free transfer. He scored around 6-7 goals in Germany this year. Adi says no. We'll keep monitoring that, but his name is in the papers. Hopefully it doesn't become Gary Rodriguez 2.0. Also, one last point I guess I'll make. One last point I'll make. Yunus Belhanda has cooled off. Like, weren't we supposed to hear an answer next week? And there was a big offer, and he was going to say yes, he was going to say no, blah, 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 blah. I haven't read anything about Yunus Belhanda, guys, so we'll keep an eye on that. But, yeah, that's mostly the transfer rumors for now. If anything pops up, we will let you guys know.
Belhanda was some nice transfer fodder to keep us occupied for a few days, maybe a week.
Big up Yunus Belhanda. We appreciate it. As people looking to find things to talk about in this boring part of the season.
There was one thing interesting about Bruma that I read in the press last week. They were saying that, okay, basically, where's the club at in their thinking? Do we want to keep Bruma? How are we going to keep him, etc.? Apparently, what the club wants to do is extend his loan, of course, and put a fixed price at the end of the loan. So to say there's an obligation to buy at the end, that's how they're going to try and make a deal. But I think we have until the end of May. Until the end of May, we have a first option, and then after that, it's open season for anybody who's interested in the player.
Open season for the Turkish league to go pick him up.
Honestly,
anyway,
though, are we? I don't want to stick on the topic too long, but are we scared like the club is going to get pressured into buying him because they're like, oh no, like German and Turkish teams are coming, like we got to secure this Bruma guy, maybe he's worth it, blah blah blah. Like I don't think
we're pressured by Turkish teams, maybe German teams.
No, but I wonder if like the club's gonna, like Pedro Martin's gonna be like, I really want Bruma, like I want Bruma bad, and the club's just gonna be like, okay, well we'll give the 6 million whatever to try and keep him. Like I really hope that's not the case, because it's gonna be a big chunk of our transfer budget. And you think they'll let him?
They're never going to pay. The club's never going to pay 5 to 6 million for this player.
I mean, knock on
wood. Knock on wood. No. That is Bjorn Engel's money. That's the big money.
Can we start on Bjorn Engels?
Bjorn Engels. Peter really had to say that Bjorn Engels money. God damn it.
Let's move on. Let's talk about Kalogeropoulos, guys. Now's the time. People are already clamoring for it. We've got Fetanos in here. What are we going to do with 2 amazing young talents at CB? And 3 amazing CVs plus Cisse? I mean, yes, the questions are there. So, I mean, and the thing is, as we've said, Semedo, Cisse, and maybe even Ba, although I think Costa's right that Ba is going through some injury problems and he's not going to be very appeasing for clubs. But we could see 2 or 3 center backs leave in the summer. We've got Markovic coming back on, or he could be coming back on loan. It's, of course, not confirmed. We've got Kalogeropoulos, who was amazing today. For folks who didn't watch the game, just like incredibly confident on the ball, fantastic, like pocketed Barades, one of the highest scoring strikers in the league. We've got Christofilopoulos as well, who we've heard of as being a good prospect, and he's made the squad a couple times, I guess. But, it's an interesting situation, and we could potentially maybe see another more veteran center back, maybe a veteran Greek center back that doesn't play for the national team anymore, coming into the fold as well. That would certainly be a nice addition.
We only sign Greek. Yeah. We only sign Greek veterans that don't play for the national team.
Yeah.
As it should be. As it should be.
But can I jump in real quick? Manolas. I'd love to see Manolas back, but I completely forgot to put this in the news section, but I don't know if you guys saw it on Gazeta GR. Telia GR, they did an article with Svetozar Markovic. I don't know if you guys read this piece, and he said, I wasn't ready the first time I went to Olympiakos to become a first team player. I believe that I can play and become a key player for Olympiakos this time around. I think I'm ready. That's also interesting. You read the headline? Yeah. He gave a whole interview with Sourlis, I think, the guy who moved from Sport 24. Anyway, so it was really interesting because he's really amped. Like, he's ready to come back and, like, win the job. So there's just so much that can happen. And I want to, if we move some of these players, like, is it too much to say that we may make 45 million euros in this transfer window? If, even more, 60 million euros if
Dude,
Madi Camara leaves,
if Madi
Cisse leaves. Like,
if Mino Raiola becomes Madi's agent, like that could be, having that name next to him could be like gargantuan for that fee. And Semedo and Cisse, I think, is like a 15 million euro player at this point because he's been doing really well in a top 5 league. And Semedo, I think, is also going to be worth a good bit if he wants to go. So like those 3, that's big money, I would say. And then maybe even Ba, who knows?
You're looking at around 50 million in transfer fees. If you sell,
huge.
Semedo, Cisse, Ba,
and Sa. Let's not forget Sa is gone as well.
Jesus Christ! Then you're talking way above 50 million.
To be fair, the money for Sa probably goes straight back into a new goalkeeper. We're not going with Christensen to start. Lambro, doesn't matter how much you want it.
My Roma friends tell me that Pau Lopez will be available in the summer.
I'm not sure we want that.
Shit.
I'm not sure we want that. Pau Lopez, the Roberto 2.0.
We'll see. Another Spanish keeper who can revive his career in Greece. I don't know. I've heard he's quite bad, but they did pay 23 million euros for him, so I don't know.
There's some people that are really trying to, breathe some life into the Gigi Buffon rumor that came out.
No.
I don't know.
Absolutely not.
I don't know about
that. Yeah.
Anyway, Peter, can we do this right now? How many center backs do we want on the roster? Just real quick, say to me, guys, 4 or 5 for next year? 5.
5. Dude, especially with this 3-4-3, man.
Yeah, we want 5. So,
but I think the 5 included in the 5 is KAVLOgeropoulos and Markovic, I would say.
Yeah.
Well, and we can count Holebas as a center back potentially as well.
Yeah, he's not going to be playing left back next season.
Yeah,
if he stays.
Yeah,
if he stays.
And Socrates is 100% going to be in there. So the question is really Ba. So there, if we keep those 2 young guys, then we've got some decisions to make. Like, so I'm kind of interested. Like, I don't know if you can say even because we don't know who's going to get sold, as well. But like, who could be our 5 center backs?
This is what I see. Semedo and Cisse both go. We bring in a player. Maybe it's like Manolas. Maybe it's Siovas, although I know like Siovas might stay in Spain as he's done and hop to another relegation tier club. But if he wants to win trophies, he can come here. He's certainly welcome. But, I think we buy another player of that pedigree, hopefully someone who lives up to the big price tag. We buy them with some of that Cisse Semedo money. And then Ba, I think, stays and is the 3rd choice. And you know what? If Ba wants to really prove that he's ready for the Premier League and accomplished everything he can accomplish in Greece, then he'll win the starting spot. If not, he's a useful rotation piece and a very good 3rd string for Greece. And I think those 3 plus Markovic plus Holebas plus the young players plus Avram, obviously, because he has to
Avram's gone. Has to be gone there, right? Should we just consider him gone?
He might,
I guess.
Well, has he confirmed he wants to be like Torosidis 2.0 basically and have a technical role with the team?
I don't know.
I don't see any harm in letting him play if he wants to play another year.
Yeah, but this is the problem. Like,
string.
Yeah, but they like rely on him though. They like play him in games like against PAOK in the playoffs.
They play him in games that after we won the chip, man. It's
yeah, but I just don't want
Costa?
to.
Like,
I don't want
Costa.
to.
I feel like you've been a pretty like proponent of Avram because you're like older than all of us and like you've been there for the top moments of Avram, whereas I have not.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not going to compare Avram to what he is now to what he was 10 years ago, but
exactly,
it's more of a dressing room thing. Like, I was listening to chat on the radio about this earlier in the week, and I think Tzolakis was saying, Avram's in good shape for his age, but at 37, okay, like centre backs, they don't run like a midfielder does, but you need to be able to sprint, and it's stop and start when you're a centre back. You need to be more agile. you need to be faster, and he's not getting any faster. He's getting older. I think he's a key part of the dressing room. What I worry about is with Semedo leaving, he's a really important part in the dressing room for bringing the foreign players close together and making the link with the Greeks as well. And you can see it on all the behind the scenes videos that the club does, particularly the video that they did after we won the league last season. You could just see he's that joker in the dressing room. He jokes around with the Greeks, and he's brought that kind of Portuguese contingent close with the domestic players, and there's that good family atmosphere in the dressing room that we should not underestimate at all. That worries me at the back, losing Semedo, not just for his ability on the pitch, but for the dressing room as well. Will Avram continue? I don't know, man. I think they'll renew Cholebas and have him as kind of the backup option. And I think Avram will probably take a role in the technical stuff and be around the team.
All I will say is if Avram wants to play, I think you give him a spot on the roster and he can, play twice a year. But I think keeping him around is good.
Question, but why would he insist if he sees a player like KAVLOgeropoulos? Why would you?
I don't know.
Why would you be so stubborn?
I don't know. I'm not saying I have no idea what he wants to do.
Mate, when would he play?
His buddy
he just wants the fans. I think that's the biggest thing with these no fans in the stadiums. The old guys just want one last go with the fans. You know what I mean? They picture a stadium like your background is, which I don't know if it's even going to happen. But maybe they're shooting the opportunity. We're going to have packed season. Exactly. It's it may not happen, guys. I don't want to do this last episode, but it's kind of like Spanulis, I want one last go with the fans maybe, but are fans even going to be back? We don't know.
Spanulis is Spanulis, man. Spanulis is
no, Spanulis I don't care, but I mean veteran players who are just I want one last go with the fans, because I've been robbed of this, and that is so fair. Can you imagine Kobe going out with no fans? Come on, so
yeah, it'd be pretty awful.
Yeah.
I actually want to bring up a player and I want to sort of address a couple of things. Kenny Lala. Is Kenny Lala fit? Is he healthy? Is he just being not chosen? Because I honestly I wonder if we could see Kenny Lala in the 3 sort of doing what Cholebas does. I wonder if that's a feasible role. I know he's pacey and we like that. But he's good defensively and physical. I just don't know if the ball playing is there. And I also I don't think he fits as a wing back. So if, in the 3-4-3, I don't know if he has a spot, and it's unfortunate. It's tough for him because he came from Strasbourg where, it's a very defensive team. He's not being asked to go forward as much. And I just feel there's, the potential that he might just take him more time to adjust, because I still think he's talented, but I also wonder if a move further back on the pitch would help him a little bit. What do you guys think?
To be honest with you guys, I'm really worried about this because I haven't read anything about an injury. Costa, I don't think you've heard anything about an injury. There's nothing in the papers saying there's an injury. And it's just not been there the whole time. I really there's been moments, but just sometimes he disappears or sometimes it doesn't work. And I don't want him to leave by any stretch. I would love him to stay for the summer and get it going, but by next December, if it's not there, questions will begin to be. Actually, it's Olympiakos. Questions are already being asked right now whether he's gone in the summer, which is craziness in my opinion. But it's a strange one because wouldn't you even just you're bringing Mohamed Drager along for the ride? You know what I mean? So if he's not injured, tell Drager to. Okay, I won't swear. Tell Drager to go for vacation in Glifada. The beaches are now open. I don't know if you guys saw that. Beaches are now open. So congrats to everyone in Greece if you're going to the beaches.
Was Drager on the bench today?
Was he on the bench? Did he make the trip? Peter may go for a look. Anyway, Drager is playing. Let's just say that. He's played a few games. He's played as a sub. Bullshit minutes. he's going to F off somewhere, and he sucked against Addis. How bad was he against Addis? Like, since we did the basketball one, we didn't talk about him and Lazar were useless, but
he was on the bench today, and Lala nowhere to be seen. Yeah.
Anyway, so like, what a waste of time, because Lala is actually a player who almost made it to the French national team, considered like a high-profile player. Like, get Lala some like fucking ego boost. I swear, ego boost minutes to like get himself going. You know what I mean? Like, come on now. What's the point of playing Drager against Addis when you can play Lala, who's actually could feature for this team?
Let me like sort of throw a different argument out, and then Costa, I'll let you, I'll let you speak. But just very quickly, part of the reason he might be playing guys like Drager and Thiago Silva and Christensen is because Martins wants to evaluate, like, do I have to let this guy go in the summer? And maybe the fact that he's not playing Lala means that he's not prioritizing that decision because he already has decided that, we're going to keep him and give him more time. That's sort of my like counter argument. Maybe he's giving Lala a rest because there are other players he wants to see more. That being said, I still want to see Lala because I think the time is valuable to get him, playing in the team in the offense. But anyway, Costa, did you have something to say?
No, I think you're right. My reaction to all this was going to be to say that I think he's going to keep him for preseason. And I'm not reading into the whole Lala thing too much, although with the Fortunis situation, I do have some questions. I think they're a little bit different. I think you're right, though. I think he wants to see players like Drager and Thiago now and evaluate whether or not they're going to be part of the team next year. It was interesting to see Thiago didn't start today, and that Sourlis started in a strong midfield with two starters, essentially. Again, you're asking yourself the question is like, do I need a Thiago Silva or is Sourlis enough? In which case you say, thanks, Thiago, it didn't work out, go back to Forest. And then with Drager has just been one of those players that's been offered to us by an agent, and we took him because, we got a better player than him and said, I'll take this one as well.
I'm sorry, I don't swear mostly. I'm sorry. But Costa, yeah, please. I don't swear too often, but yeah, Costa, please keep going.
I prefer not to speak about that comment. I'll just
in private. Okay. Anyway, can I make a point real quick? Like, how much of them playing is also the club trying to get 500,000 euros for them in the summer?
Yeah,
and be like, oh, these guys played 15 times for Olympiakos. They have talent. You know what I mean? Like, how much of it is that? And I will put 15 euros on the table right now that Drager and Thiago Silva are about to F off to Nottingham Forest in the summer. Just clear.
Either that or Addis.
Oh, man.
Drager would fit in.
Thiago's God. It's actually like I honestly just want to see Addis become like Olympiakos rejects FC. Like, can we get like Gil Diaz to come back to Greece and play for them? Like, I honestly it would just be even funnier to see all these players like on the same team together. Bjorn goes back to Greece. Alexis Romao back to Greece. Like, that team probably finishes top 3 in the Greek league at this point with like Ike and Panathinaikos not being able to do it as well. Like, you can't even say it wouldn't be successful. Like, anyway.
We started this segment saying, let's talk about Kalogeropoulos and let's talk about the centre-backs, and we didn't talk about KAVLOgeropoulos.
Well, I mean, he was amazing. Like, I don't know what even else to say. Like, we're going to tweet the data out tomorrow on Gate7INTL on our Twitter and probably do a little Instagram graphic as well. Because, we pretty much already know the data is gonna reflect how good he was. He was really strong in the air for the most part. He was resolute marking Barradas, off the ball and with the ball. He looked comfortable passing it as well. Nothing crazy, but looked comfortable. A lot of young defenders, especially center backs, they do not look comfortable with it. He's 16 goddamn years old. Like, this is amazing stuff. I mean, when I was 16, I was not doing that. No. So, it's like, it's really hard. I don't know even how much we can, provide analysis. Cause it's just like, if you watched him play, it's just clear. Like, he's even like, he looks like 25-year-old man as well. Like, I don't know how this kid is 16 and has like better facial hair than I do. And like looks like he's ready to go like as well. Like you look at Tzolakis and it's like, all right, this guy's 17.
The kid.
You know what I mean?
I was, look, guys, I mean, these games are fucking boring, right? And I think all of us were excited because we look at the lineup and it's like there's 8 Greek players, 5 players from the youth academy. I mean, from different generations, albeit. But we should emphasize that there were 5 players in the starting 11 that come from our academy. So it was Tzolakis, Kalogeropoulos, Androutsos, Sourlis, and Vrusai. For the record, I was so damn interested in seeing this kid. I'd heard earlier in the week they were saying he's a Retsos, but possibly even better. It's like, okay, that's a bold statement. So I shit you not, I actually took notes, everything this kid did. And it was like 15 minutes into the game, and he'd won like 4 defensive duels already. It's like 3rd minute in the game, he was pressing on the halfway line and dispossessing the midfielder. And then outside the box, you know, sticking his toe in and clearing a dangerous situation, winning loose balls, second balls in the air against Barales, who's got 11 goals this season. El Arabi is the top scorer in the Greek league, 20 goals. The second top scorer has 12 goals. I think it's Makeda, don't quote me, but the second and the fourth, they have 12 to 11 goals. So Barales is an experienced veteran. He was getting owned by this 16-year-old to the extent that Barales had to get subbed off at halftime. It was insane. And you mentioned his passing ability. It was no nonsense in the first half. He didn't try and do anything special like those 30-yard balls that Cisse tries to play from, you know, one end to the other. Just simple, no nonsense. In the second half, what got me, the commentator goes at one point, oh, he's I think he's pulled a muscle or like he's cramping. He said he was cramping and he might come off. He stayed on another 10 minutes. And once the commentator said he's cramping, you started seeing him playing balls in between the lines, like direct balls into the midfield. And you're like, now you start to see that where that Retos comparison comes from. The fact that he can play those balls in between the lines and he plays with his head up. He gets the ball and he starts to go forward, plays the ball out wide, comes back, positioning for a 16-year-old. My God, no, I was really impressed. I know it's against Asteras in a game that doesn't mean anything, but by God, I want to see this kid play more.
You know, it's funny. I wanted to make like a tweet after the game and be like, you know, those memes when it's like Kalogeropoulos emptying his pockets when he gets home and it's like a picture of like car keys, wallet, and then like Barales. And I wanted to tweet that out, but then I realized like, would I have to say his home or like his parents' home or like he's do you live by yourself when you're 16? Like I was, so I didn't do the tweet. It's just like, yeah, he was fantastic for all the reasons you said, Costa, like, and especially as you mentioned, like making those passes into the midfield. And I want to touch on something that you also said, because like my first gut reaction when he came off was like, no, I want to see 90 minutes of him. Like Semedo doesn't need to play today. But Costa, you made the very good point. Because of the pandemic, the U19 teams have not played at all this year, or only started playing very recently. So, and he at the beginning of the season, he wasn't training with the first team. He came up more recently, I think, as well. So he's not even had a full season of just like training, let alone playing games. We saw him briefly against Aris at the end of the game. And so, you know, he is still finding fitness as well. So obviously, you know, we don't expect him to be this world-class at 16 years old every time he goes out there. And it does, of course, help he's playing Asteras as well. But, you know, to think he's still finding fitness, if he had a full season of U19 games under his belt, you know, he'd be in shape to do that for 90 minutes instead of 65 or whatever he played today.
Guys, the other thing is that Pedro Martins doesn't throw in a 16-year-old. Do you know what I mean? He's just not that type of coach.
Yeah.
So
like when he does, it's because he's goddamn good. Like, yeah.
No, it's kind of insane because we've been hearing all the Liatzos, Chelios, all of these guys, Sourlis, Tzolakis, and then it's like this guy just comes out of nowhere. He makes one squad list. I remember he made the squad list, and I texted you guys, and I was like, "Do we know who this is?" Like, I didn't know of him like just in December. I want to say even later.
Yeah, there's like the 5 or 6 players' names that like flirt with the squad list throughout the season, and I remember just seeing like a post from one of the fan pages. I think it was redwhite.gr, and they were just like, "KAVLOgeropoulos begins training with the first team," and this was like not very long ago, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'd never heard of this kid before, and he's like 16 years old training with the first team.
It's mad.
Massive rise to prominence for him. Hopefully.
That was international duty when everyone was away, and they.
That's right.
Yep.
Good point. Yeah, that makes sense.
I honestly, I'm so excited with it because, the center back position is like the complete opposite of the winger position. Just super exciting, like so many exciting names, like who can play here. And you got to think like our starting central defenders right now, if we go into next season, are Socrates and Semedo. Like people were saying the best central defenders like the best 1-2 we've ever had. Now we're just like, we're going crazy even more. Like I don't want to put too much on this kid's back because we've seen burnout from kids, but like, goddamn, this is really exciting. Like this isn't like Michailidis, like garbage player who's young and plays because PAOK defenders are garbage. This is like a proper good player. Just very exciting.
That's one thing I want to say as well, because like as we just said, we didn't know who this kid was 2 months ago, and he's going to get some attention in the press for this performance today. Obviously, like I think back to Fetfadzidis, like this kid doesn't really want the attention. In the case of Fetfadzidis, right? That's kind of the personality that he was, and walking outside and picking up the Fos and seeing Greek Messi with your picture next to it is quite a lot for a young kid. So, I mean, it might be wise to keep him out of the spotlight before like Greek Virgil van Dijk or, things like this, Greek Sergio Ramos, whatever, come out on the Fos with his face next to them. So, I mean, we'll have to see what we do with him. He could even be due a loan in the near future. I mean, who knows? It's hard to say.
There's something interesting that Yorgato said about Tsimikas. I think when he got his first start under Marco Silva, Tsimikas played, I can't remember who it was against, but anyway, he played that game, and then the next game he was not even on the bench. And I remember Yorgato saying that was like a test, a mental test for Tsimikas to see how he reacted. And I think later on, obviously, they decided to loan him out to that Danish club. Was it not Elfsborg? Anyway, he went out to Denmark, then he went out to Willem. But it'll be interesting to see how they handle this kid, because you're right. Depending on his mental ability, let's see the press tomorrow. Like you said, the next Van Dijk, the next Delas. I don't know, next Manolas, whatever they call him. Retsos already. We have comparisons. Very, very exciting prospects.
Well, and that's the thing as well, because in terms of like you mentioning how Tsimikas gets a start and then gets a rest, and it's a mental test for him. I mean, we've got PAOK, Panathinaikos last game of the season, and then PAOK Cup final again. I'm surprised if we see him in any of those 3 games, maybe Panathinaikos, but I feel like, and maybe we can get to this later, I feel like we want to make a statement against PAOK and we don't want to lose to them. And then I feel like we obviously are going to field a competitive team for the Cup final. So I don't think we see him for the rest of the year. And then, of course, there's friendlies in June, Europe in July. We probably once again won't see him. It's, the next time we see him playing senior team football could be this time next year if we've clinched the league by 20 points and are playing Yanina or something again. I don't know. So, I mean, it might be a while before he gets his shot again as well, just the way things are with Martins and with the way the schedule is going to work.
Yeah, Peter, I think that's a brilliant point. But the big thing from today is who was watching today. Hopefully a team from abroad you can send the film to, right? Hopefully a team in Greece in the first division. I don't want to see him play in the second division, let's be real. And a team like Elfsborg, comes up and they're like, okay, we'll let him play first team the whole year abroad against grown men in a decent league. That is the goal. The goal is not for him to come. Like, I would prefer him abroad than him as our fifth center back. Like, I want Like, I want Markovic to play that role because he's gone and he's bossed it abroad in Serbia. He's played great for Partizan and blah, 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 right? I would love to see him go abroad if that's the right choice. Again, he's also 16 years old. Like, there's no harm in him playing. This would be the perfect time when there's an Olympiakos B in the second division, right? We've discussed this, but like, can he stay in the academy, or has he outgrown that completely? Like, what we saw today, it seems like he's outgrown it completely. Let's be real. But I don't know what the next step is, guys. Like, I don't know. I think we're just gonna have to wait and see.
That's really hard. I mean, he's 16, and it's hard for a 16-year-old to go to another country. I doubt the kid's been out of Greece, yeah, to go and live somewhere, adapt. But then, like you mentioned, going to another first division team. Do you know how bad the training facilities are?
Exactly.
Other first division teams.
We're not letting Kuyas touch him.
Kuyas is.
I mean, they're
did it again. Larissa are done. We should throw a party.
You get the idea.
For cheap. Anyway,
like, he's gonna tear his ACL on the pitch in La Mia after like one game, and he's gonna have to play like 20 home games there.
You don't want him. Yeah, exactly. That's the scary. This is why our league is so incompetent, because there's literally nowhere he could go, and we're like, okay, he can go develop here. Knock on wood, Panionios is back in 4 years, because they were always decent at it, I felt, and they have a decent pitch. But like, it's such a hard decision. You're gonna also, let's be honest, this kid just bossed the game against Asteras Tripolis and pocketed the second best striker in Greece, let's just say. And you're gonna have him go play against 17-year-olds, like, you know what I mean? Like, what are you gonna do? I don't know. What are you going to do? You're going to have him play against the PAOK Wonder Kids, who they're just Wonder Kids because PAOK are so shit that like they can play kids? I don't know. You play him against the PAOK Wonder Kids who are 17. The next big thing.
I don't know. Save the trash talking for after the game.
I will.
Lambro, you're setting us up for a dangerous precedent if we don't win on Wednesday or in the cup final.
I've had enough with them. Their fans are morons. But yes.
They're going to be second this year, Lambro. They're going to be second in the league for what.
Bravo. Well done. You beat like a team that just came back from the second division like a year ago. You people are brilliant. I don't know. Good luck to them in the conference league. They'll need it. But
dude, nobody else wants to like win. I swear, like, Asteras want to win more than anyone else in like this six, besides us, obviously. But they just don't have the facilities or the talent to win games against like these other teams.
Did you see Makeda brilliantly nailed a penalty right in the post against Ike too? It was just like colossal losers like trying to lose the game back and forth. It's just, watching these playoff games is just kind of hilarious. It would almost be better if they just ended the season so people didn't have to watch like these jokes of teams. Like, give them the summer to figure it out, because they're laughing stocks, and it's kind of embarrassing to watch.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk anymore about other Greek teams because
What did you guys think of Sourlis? Now we've seen him a couple of games.
A couple flashes, man. It's interesting. Like, we were upset about Sourlis playing in this position in central midfield. We were confused when he did it like back towards the end. Like, I guess this was maybe around the end of 2020 when he came in the 4-2-3-1 as like a box to box. But I actually think he's not bad with it. He holds on to the ball pretty well, I would say. Definitely like not super quick. And when I say quick, I mean like he's not an unathletic player, but like quick in terms of like moving with the ball at his feet. But that I think comes with time. I think he's good. I think he probably could have done with a few more 5-minute stints throughout the season. I think he's of that caliber. I'm not as excited with him as I am about KAVLOgeropoulos, but I think he was good today.
I let me just say this, like, he didn't blow it up and he doesn't like shock the world, but for me he's on the level of Thiago Silva. Like, there's no, when I watch the two play football, like, I don't think Thiago Silva is significantly better than him. So it's like, moving forward, I don't think any of us know what his position wants to be. He's not going to be a 6. Will he be an 8? I don't know. Supposedly he wants to be a 10, or he plays as a second striker as a young kid. So, like, it's another one of those cases where this kid needs to go abroad, and he needs to go abroad ASAP. So he needs to figure out what positions he's going to play, and he's got to play against grown men consistently, and maybe he'll come back, because at this point, is him playing Thiago Silva minutes going to do anything for him? Playing against Lamia, Asteras, he's never going to play against PAOK, Ike, Europe. So, like, if he's going to make the next jump, which he's already like a squad player, you know? Like, and that's good, you know? Like, from a 17, 18-year-old Greek young kid, like, that's perfect for squad registration and things like that. So, but the question is, can we take him to the next level, right? That's what we want. So, and for him to do that, I think he has to go abroad. Like, he has, like, you see when he turns on the ball and he plays a nice quick pass, it looks good. But one thing I noticed, the left foot is non-existent. Have you guys noticed that? He can't even play a simple one with the left. So there's just simple things. He needs to go abroad, and he needs to play, you know? He's not playing. So we need to see him abroad for at least a season.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we talked about KAVLOgeropoulos, maybe too young to go abroad, but Sourlis is a couple years older. So I see that. Yeah, no, I agree with pretty much everything you said there, Lambro. I think he's not going to get the necessary experience with us, and he's a bit more at the time where... And I also think playing abroad might help him with the issue of, like, where do you play? You know, if you actually get more minutes, I think that helps. And I also don't think, like, think about Androutsos as well. He was like central midfielder, second striker, like all the way through. And then this year he's just like, he's playing right back and he's fantastic at it. So maybe that will happen with Sourlis. Like, he goes somewhere else and that the team he's at happens to have a need for a number 6. And he turns out to be really good at that position and his left foot gets better. It's hard to say, but I think that problem will be answered by him going abroad. And it connects to, like, we were tweeting out during the game because we were so excited about all the young kids playing. Like, Olympiakos have the best young players in Greece. Like, you know, we were kind of patting ourselves on the back, if anything, I would say. And a few people got upset. And I think maybe part of the reason people got upset is because we have talent in the academy, but it's not like we are like amazing at developing these players. As we've talked about before, like, we didn't do a lot of the development for Tzolakis and Vrusai. We sent them to somebody else and they did it for us and they came back and they were good. So I think, like, that's something that we could maybe see with Sourlis, even just away from the playing time. Like, well, I mean, to be fair, obviously the playing time is part of a reason because, like, we're concerned with winning games, and that's a lot of times not conducive with playing the youth. But I mean, that's another reason to send them off, is like they seem to develop a lot better when they're not playing in Greece for whatever reason.
Yeah, and if I can make this point real quick, like, people are mad because we're not developing the youth, and I know Costa is a bit upset as well. Like, he's made this point clear, but, like, we're not PAOK. You know, we can't drop points in the league against Lamia, Larissa, and play Chigaras, Michailidis, these, like, young players, because that's not acceptable for our club. Like, it's just not acceptable. Like, mediocrity is something that's acceptable there, but, like, it's not acceptable here. So what are you going to do? It's a difficult spot to put us in. So the best way is the Tsimikas method. It is literally the Vrusai method. It is to send them out there to play, and that's it. They're developed by us, but they can get a few first-team experiences in this type of situation. We kind of see, okay, some of these kids have it, and you send them abroad and let them figure it out for themselves. And it's real sink or swim. Like, some of these kids will go abroad, and they won't have it. They may not have it, but some of them will, and they'll come back and they'll become stars. That's the only way to do it for our club. That's the only way I can see it with our media landscape. So it's like, they can talk shit all they want, but they can play Michailidis and he screws up and they lose against Larissa. Like, if that's what they're content with, that's what they're content with. Losing titles and developing Michailidis and selling him to Serie B for 2 million euros. I don't know. Like, if you guys want that, I don't want that. I don't know.
So you have a point, and we touched on it earlier, which is that other Greek clubs, sending players out on loan to other Greek clubs, you don't get much in terms of value added. for that loan term. I think there are minimal cases like Mitroglou, who went to Atromitos, who went to Panionios, and he scored loads of goals. And he came back and he had that experience of playing in the first team, being a number one striker, etc., etc. Sending players out on loan to Levadiakos, like we've done with Marinos or this Cypriot kid, Costi. I don't know. I mean, they're going to come back in the summer and we're going to see them or not. But I think it's one of those situations where we are developing these kids by or through our network and through our relationships with clubs in better leagues. So I see Sourlis, for example, and I think, Dutch league, Eredivisie, Willem, I think that door is definitely going to be open in the summer for him potentially. But here's my problem. Why do we sign an Abdeslam Wadou instead of playing a centre-back from our academy? Why do we sign a Thiago Silva instead of giving those minutes this year to Sourlis? Why do we sign Kuipers? Like, why?
I mean, the answer is simple, Costa, because Martins doesn't trust him, and he's like,
Does he trust Kuipers?
For some reason, yes. I can't tell you why.
He didn't sign him. Yeah. He didn't sign him. But I mean, this is a club policy thing. It's not Martins. It's a club policy issue.
Yeah, and I would also say, though, I think Martins is pressured by the club. Because it might not even be direct pressure. Maybe he just knows Olympiakos, you don't lose in the league. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's that comes with the territory. That's something a little bit different. I mean, Thiago's not a first team player. He's a rotation / backup player. How many games has he played this year? Like, seriously, look at what he's offered.
Real games, he's not played very many. He's played some meaningless games.
So what does he offer? And why does he eat that opportunity from a kid that comes from inside our own institution, from inside our club? That's what I don't get. That's my issue with the policy that we have in the team. There's no difference. There's no difference.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you. I just I don't know if it's Martins making the decision. I don't know if it's the club making the decision, but for some reason he trusts older players, I would say.
And can I make a comment real quick? Marinakis bought Nottingham Forest to get them to the Premier League. Okay, that's cool. But we were having this discussion with our blogging team, how much better for Olympiakos, maybe even for Nottingham Forest, if Marinakis went and bought a team in the Netherlands, Belgium, Ligue 2 in France. How much better would that be for all parties if we had a place where we could send our young players, and there was almost like Wolves have. There's a Greek culture there in the Netherlands. There's a whatever in France, whatever it is. Wouldn't that be just so much better if KAVLOgeropoulos walks in the door to a little Greek village in France, right? And that they play in Ligue 2 and he's playing against grown men. He has people who speak his language. Does that make sense at all to you guys? I know that's asking a lot of the owner to be go buy another team and fund this. You know what I mean?
It's unrealistic that Marinakis is going to do that.
But that money would come back like this, guys, because that's how you develop. He would develop so many youngsters instead of sending them to random teams out there. Maybe the agent relationship way is what we're going to do. But in a fantasy land that I have, that would be just fantastic if we could get a feeder team almost like some of these big teams do have.
But it's never been vocalized in this way. But the reason that he bought Nottingham Forest was not because it's one of the most historic clubs in England, which it is because if he gets to the Premier League with that club, the amount of money that he gets is absolutely ridiculous. And who knows if he, wanted to use some of that money for us, that'd be fantastic to have access to Premier League kind of level funding that he could, dish out left and right. Olympiakos, Nottingham Forest, he does what he wants with his money. But yeah, I mean, the Forest relationship is really not doing anything for us in terms of developing players. You could argue perhaps Tzolakis having that one season there was it was good for him, and he came back a better player. But I mean, it was a free transfer. I think he left on a free transfer. Then they got rid of him. I can't remember exactly how it went down, but we haven't. Besides Tzolakis, I can't think of anybody. Cafu's not coming back, man.
Cafu's too good for us. He's in the championship now. He's a top player for Nottingham Forest. Yeah, I mean, Cafu is an example of how they benefit from it more than we do. The relationship between our two clubs, I would say.
But you talk to them, and they are not happy with us. They hate our guts. The guy there, what's his name? The Athletic wrote an article that the Greek guy who's running Nottingham Forest is about to. Yeah, he's about to be kicked out the door because their fans are pissed. Like, like supposedly their recruitment has been bad. They signed Gaetan Bong. Do you guys remember him from his days at Olympiakos?
They signed him. Oh no.
They signed him. They signed BS. So their fans don't love. And then they signed like Karim Ansarifard, and he never even touched the pitch. Right? They signed Guerrero, and he's off to Spain in the winter. So their fans hate our guts too. And now they're about to get Lazar Angelovic and Drager and Thiago Silva back, and they're going to hate us even more. Like, they're going to kill us,
The Lazar memes in England are going to be legendary. I was going to say, one of the jokes I was going to make earlier, Lazar is the least excited person about the lockdown restrictions being loosened in Greece because he was actually already doing all the illegal stuff before.
Can you imagine? Like, I would love to type Lazar Angelovic in Twitter after a Nottingham Forest 3-0 loss, and the reactions would be brilliant. But anyway, guys, I wanted to talk about something that we've gotten fired up about, and that's Tzolakis. And he kind of fits into this thing, too. He's 17, 18 years old. What's next for Tzolakis? A lot of people are saying Gigi Buffon come in and mentor the kid if Sa leaves and he plays.
Gigi Buffon can go mentor him in the Netherlands. If Gigi Buffon wants to go play for Willem and be a backup to Tzolakis, he can go mentor him there.
Exactly.
I think Tzolakis is alone. Lambro was like, Tzolakis misplayed a few balls today. It has to be said. And like every time Lambro's like, see, this kid sucks. I could have done that better. Get him out of my club. Fire him into the sun. I don't want to see this. Lambro was like loving it. It's almost as if Lambro
no.
to like just dribble the ball into his own goal and concede. And to be fair, yes, it's true that there were a couple balls he just played way over out of bounds to nobody. There were a couple balls that just didn't have enough on them, and they were immediately recovered by an Asteras player. There was one, or actually there were two instances where he didn't get it. He didn't clear it quickly enough, and it sort of nicked off the Asteras striker coming into pressure and went for a corner. One of them, I will say, Sourlis kind of played a soft ball back to him that allowed the Asteras player pressing to come get it. It shouldn't have even been a difficult situation, but whatever. Both of them were at fault for that. But this is a classic thing that young goalkeepers are struggling with. This is the hardest part of the game for a goalkeeper is with the feet. Goalkeepers are goalkeepers because they're good with their hands, right? So most goalkeepers, they have trouble with this stuff when they're younger. And as we've talked about and as I've written about in the blog, Costa Tzolakis is younger, playing in the first team than most goalkeepers. Most goalkeepers are not even in the first team anywhere at the age that he is. So to see this stuff, it gives you a bit of you're a bit nervous when he does that. I mean, if you care about the game, I really didn't, but but you're also this is completely to be expected and something that will get better with experience. And he needs to get game time somewhere. And playing now in these games doesn't hurt, certainly. I should also say that there are some things that the mental aspect, he is very we were talking about his positioning. He knows where his goal is really well. He knows where to be. He does a really good job of being aware of where the players are on the other team and where to position yourself in the goal. That's something that also takes a lot of time, and he seems very natural with that. So it has to be said. And of course, he's also got the physical frame and the reflexes to be a good shot stopper. So I'm not worried about it at all. Lambro, I know, is seething as I give him a bunch of compliments in this speech. But I mean, I think it is a loan. I kind of think Christensen backup plus sign someone new, assuming Sa leaves as the starter, is the way to go. And let Tzolakis play a full season of first team football somewhere over abroad.
Yeah, I guess I'll go. Goalkeeper is just one of those difficult positions, though, where also is like a Willem who's like fighting for relegation survival. Like, those are one of the few spots where you're like, we don't really want an 18-year-old goalkeeper as well. Like, so it's kind of harder to find, and a goalkeeper's a one position, and we want him to play, right? So we have to say this team, he has to play. So you're telling a team fighting relegation in the Netherlands, you have to play a 17-year-old or 18-year-old. It's much more difficult than saying like, oh, Marius Rusai, a young winger who can play both wings, like he needs to play, right? So it's going to be difficult as well. Like, I can't think of how we're going to develop this goalkeeper because I don't know many teams abroad. Like, maybe we're going to have to send him to an even smaller league to get this done because, to be honest with you, a Dutch team may take on some Greek youngsters, but they're smart enough to be like, yeah, we're going to take a 32-year-old Dutch goalkeeper to get. Does that make sense to you guys? Like, I feel like goalkeeper is just a risky position for these teams that aren't like middle tier. Like Willem is a relegation team in the Netherlands. Like, I don't know. It's difficult for them and it's difficult for us. Like, what are we going to do with him? I don't know. But a loan sounds fantastic to me. If a Dutch team comes up and say, we'll play your 17, 18-year-old goalkeeper all season, brilliant, let's do it. But like, he's one who's going to be difficult to get onto that loan because I think some teams are going to be scared to do it, to be honest. Some of these relegation teams.
I think this is one of the ones where it really hurts to not have the U19s, I would say, for the reasons, because you make really good points, Lambro. Like, first of all, with a winger, you can play them for 30 minutes and sub them off. For a keeper, like you're not usually wasting a sub on a goalkeeper, although Martins actually did today. Shout out to Kalogeropoulos, by the way, who got 10 minutes. He's also a young goalkeeper who we should also be thinking about trying to develop. But yeah, it is really difficult to get goalkeepers time. And I think that also might be a reason that we don't see them usually getting all this playing time at the level that Tzolakis is at. So yeah, I mean, I do think it's a question, but I think a loan even at a crappy team is better than the bench.
It's even better because the crappy teams takes how many shots on goal, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Let me play devil's advocate here for a second. So we're saying he's a good shot stopper, he's got good positioning, he's got good reflexes, he packs a good punch, which experienced keepers don't even do that. Now, we're saying that we don't like him or he needs to get better at playing with his feet. So at these clubs that we're saying we're going to loan him, is he actually going to be playing a lot with his feet? Because we're the type of team that plays possession football, likes to play out the back. You need a keeper like that. So I don't know, man. Like to go and again to go and give him to Kalamata or to go and no disrespect to Kalamata or Lamia, some team in Division 1 in the Super League in Greece. You can learn those things in training. We have a very good goalkeeper coach, Agroyanis. I can't remember his first name.
And Nikopolidis too as the under-19 coach who he's going to play games with. Yeah.
But he's not going to drop in the under-19s.
Yeah, I know, but just as a mentor, I guess.
Καλησπέρα ρε Θύμνο. Η γυναίκα μου είναι από τα Χανιά. But Andreas Kostopoulos, sorry, I just had to. Big up Crete. Love it.
I also, another side, is goalkeeper one of those positions where a young kid can play in Greece also? Like we said, like the fields are shit. Like for a young player, it's kind of crap. But like as a goalkeeper, like let's say Tzolakis goes to Giannina, wouldn't that be fantastic? Like I think Giannina would be a perfect fit for him for like a year and a half loan. I don't know. They have Ludigan, whatever. Or they have that brilliant young coach. That sounds like that would work. But like maybe sending him to a Greek team works because Greek teams are different and like the field condition doesn't matter as much and the facilities don't matter as much for what's it called? Goalkeepers. I don't know. Like this is just brainstorming. I don't know, guys. The club's gonna figure it out this summer, hopefully.
My prediction is, personally, I don't think he'll go anywhere. That's just my prediction. I don't know what you guys think, but I kind of expect him to stay. I think we'll do a similar thing where it's him and Christensen both stay. Because the rationale that I get for this from Martins, not that I agree with this, is we want Tzolakis to maybe play some rotation, but not necessarily going to rely on him as the second string. That's kind of what I think they might be thinking at the club.
I don't think Martins was happy with what he saw from Tzolakis today. Or at least, like, look, you guys said it. There were a couple of times in the game where he got pressed. One was a bad back pass, and, I think it got deflected off the attacker. It went over the bar. Then another one went out for a corner. But I don't know. There's something about this kid. I mean, like you said, he's just set at 17 with that frame, like how big he is. And the save he made against Addis for Manos' goal, guys. It's like, okay, it ended up in the net from a lucky deflection, but the way he got down and opened his body up to stop that tapping in the first place, that's something that an experienced keeper does. The way he opens up his body, he makes himself big, his foot's out wide. Like, I mean, it was a great save, and it was unlucky that it deflected onto Manos' head and then went in. But there's something about him. I don't know. Let's see. Should we move on to man of the match?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's about that time for man of the match. Should we all say it together? Kalogeropoulos on 3. Is
KAVLOgeropoulos.
I apologize. My apologies.
Henceforth, he will be known as KAVLOgeropoulos.
Yeah, I mean, we've discussed at length how good he is.
Wait, this is funny. What if Tzolakis gets loaned out to Ionikos and he trains at Olympiakos because our facilities are so good? Can you imagine he's playing there, but he just comes to us to train and use the facilities?
Get promoted, right? Are they first?
Yeah, they are. They are
first. Yeah, so
that would be classic. Also, are they going to play in our stadium? That's for another day. This is a long history. Like, of course, we can talk about this with Adi. Adi will full nerd on this, so we'll get into him. But supposedly they may play in our stadium. We'll see.
Surely we loan our entire Ionikos just becomes Olympiakos B. Nobody's making the Addis jokes again. We just why wouldn't we play Thiago Silva, star of Ionikos, next season in their first year up? I actually no. Well, man of the match will finish, and then I have a smaller point to make. But anyway, man of the match, Kalogeropoulos for me. Coach's grade, I'm going to give Martins an A+ because he played Kalogeropoulos. That's all we really need to say about this. I don't even care that we didn't win. But anyway, Costa, what are your picks for today?
No, KAVLOgeropoulos, man of the match for me. Coach's grade, yeah, probably. I mean, what is there to say? It's it was a nothing game. I think I said a couple of episodes ago that I'm not going to give coach's grade anymore, unless it's a game that means something. So I'm going to stick to that. Sorry for being a party pooper.
Yeah, God, the biggest thing that pissed me off is I can't believe I haven't said it yet. Hassan, light post, lamp post, just useless tonight. Just
Bruma was horrible too. I actually wanted
Bruma was
that. Both of them were garbage.
Terrible. Oh my God, my eyes hurted a lot. People were posting it Hassan literally can't do anything to get subbed off sometimes. It was Rusai had a few good moments, and it's just he gets taken off at halftime. Hassan has been a lamppost for 3 weeks now. He gave the assist to Fortunis, I know, but just does nothing. Anyway, I'll just give a B+ for all the young players playing, but the subs, I would have liked Rusai to stay on. I would have enjoyed to see maybe a left back change, maybe is anyone on the bench? Was Oleg on the bench? I don't know.
Oleg was on the bench, yeah.
Yeah, he was.
So I have...
Anyway, but that's it. Yeah, my man of the match. We all know who he is, so, yeah.
I have a random point, and then we'll wrap up. I was thinking about this a few days ago and forgot to think about it before now. What do you guys think about, the way teams are promoted and relegated? I might be completely off base here. I feel having more teams promoted and relegated per season might actually help the Greek league be more competitive. And the reason I say this is because if you enable the small teams to stay up more, they get more comfortable playing park the bus football. And maybe this is just like bias because Yanina are up in their first year and they probably, they were the best team in Super League 2 last year, and they probably were playing a fairly positive style of football in Apollon. Also, I would say, relative to the other small teams, they play pretty decent football as well, compared to Larissa, Panetolikos, Lamia. Do you guys is it just coincidence that it's like this, or do you guys think that would actually help, with, the small teams just all playing the same, boring football, park the bus, or do you think it's just inevitable because they're always going to be small clubs? What are your thoughts?
I guess I'll go first. I would love to see one more team relegated, maybe, or two teams in a relegation playoff.
I personally think it should just be straight up worst 3 teams go, and then. But I mean, like I said, I'm just
I would love to see Panetolikos and Lamia disappeared as clubs. To be completely honest with you, they just do nothing for me. And there's some decent clubs in our bottom tier, Panionios. I know, rest in peace. I just love them. I have a soft spot for them because I don't know that we've gotten some great players from there and have some stories from them. But there's some good teams down in the second division and third division, whatever, who could be better than this, than Lamia, Panetolikos. I don't know. I would love to see more relegate. And you know what's interesting, Peter? I swear to God, Panetolikos is going to get played off the field by the second team in the Super League 2. I could so see them just getting dominated by them because the Super League 2 team is probably... Year. Yeah, and exactly, with Apollon. Just, these Super League 2 teams are actually playing decent football to get promoted. It's someone has to play decent football. You can't just park the bus against each other, right? So they come up against Panetolikos, who just knows park the bus and garbage football, and they beat them, right? So we'll see. I would love to see more teams get relegated because it means less Panetolikos, less Lamia. So maybe I'm biased. Larissa. Also, we need to say Larissa got relegated. I made it real quick comment.
Rest in peace, Larissa.
Pinakas coming to us for peanuts, hopefully this summer. Knock on wood.
Man, he's honestly
but he's dropped off so bad.
Disappointing as well.
I know.
Disappointing.
So the price has gone down even more. So hopefully we can get him for literally a penny and loan him out to Willem again. Willem gonna be stacked this year. But yeah, Costa, what do you think about this?
Honestly, don't really have much of an opinion on that, to be fair. But it's some years ago we had 20 teams in the league.
Yeah,
and they've been playing around with this for such a long time that they just need to make a stable system how we play. I mean, I get it. They've been experimented and there are money issues involved. There's not a lot of money in Greek football to go around 20 teams. So I don't know, man. I don't really.
They need to do the Swiss model. I'm telling you, the Swiss model here is 10 teams. I think it's 10 teams, and everyone play. It's 3 times. Everyone plays each other. I want to say maybe 4 times, but 3 sounds more right to me. And that's it. 10 teams. You got. At that point, we're looking at decent teams where we have our top 5, whatever that is. We all know what that is, but then you have room for Asteras. You have room for Yanina. And then you have whatever's left, Ofi. One day can be something. Who knows?
Atromitos Volos. I think
Atromitos Volos. At that point, the league's pretty decent. And then relegation's interesting because it's Atromitos Volos. It's not Larissa and Panetolikos. It's okay, these are semi-respectable teams, right? So I don't know. And it's more incentive.
I think playing 4 times is 36 games for a season, which is what we play already.
Yeah, so actually, that would be brilliant. I don't know. I hate the playoffs. You guys know it. Costa and I have gone into debates about this. I hate it so much. I'd love to see it go to the Swiss model because it works brilliantly here. I don't know if you guys have seen a Swiss league table. It is insane. Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah. It's good here. Anyway.
Let's see. We have new management at the Greek Football Federation, but then again, this is Super League, so it's different. You see, it's complicated in Greek football, man. It's just I don't know.
Well,
we can hope.
Maybe maybe Eppo will come out with something and we'll discuss it more then. But no, I just had that random thought the other day. Figured I'd bring it up. That's all. That's really all we have to discuss today. Thank you so much to everybody who's listened or watched, especially if you've made it this far. Make sure to leave a like on the YouTube video if you're watching on YouTube. Give us a subscribe. Turn on that notification bell so you can know whenever we're going live or whenever a video has come out. Thank you so much for everybody who's tuned in live, left us a like on Facebook or Twitter. We always appreciate it, and we always appreciate the comments as well. Keep your eyes open for the awards. The awards are coming out, and we're really, really excited for all the fans to play a part. We've got a lot of fun stuff planned for the awards show, so make sure to tune in live. And if you can't tune in live, catch it the next day because we're really looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, that's about all I've got. We'll be back midweek. We play PAOK. One more thing. Remember, Olympiakos title celebration virtually happening after the PAOK game, I believe. If you haven't gotten your tickets already, make sure to do so and be part of the celebration to honor this great team. So thank you so much, everybody. We will see you very soon.